What's up, everybody? I am back playing some Nintendo Switch game, and I finally got myself around to getting the Ace Attorney Investigations, the Miles Edgeworth stuff. So I've been looking forward to this. So I love the Ace Attorney stuff. It's so much fun. It's this anime. It was Law and Order before Law and Order. Let's put it that way. I was about to say it's anime or Law and Order, but it's just like, to be frank, this was like Law and Order before Law and Order was even like a whisper on somebody's lips. But anyway, let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite Ace Attorney game? This is my first time playing a game that's all about Miles Edgeworth. It's like playing a game that's all about Vegeta or Kaiba. So this will be interesting. Super excited about this. The last time I played like a Ace Attorney Collections, I had fun, but I had to look up a lot of stuff in order to, do my investigations and ask the right questions. I might have to do that again, so I might have to cheat a little bit. Okay. I do not need no vibrations. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking at for, because as I saw this in one of those game conferences, it did show the difference with the art style. Of course, I'm going with the updated style. I just want to check it out. Okay. Turnabout visitor. I probably should have something for Miles, because he says Eureka. Make sure the defendant is found guilty. What other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. That may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough, but a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. See, this is one of the things that kind of bothers me. I don't want to, you know, make it obvious who the guilty person is. It's like, you know, leave it a mystery even to the player, so as you solving the crime, you put two together and it's like, oh, okay, this guy has to be the person. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. Old Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office and keeping it clean. The door is unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? What's this smell? It's very familiar. Blood. What the? What's the meaning of this? Freeze! Identify yourself. Shut up. You got some nerve committing murder in the prosecutor's office. Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. My name is Miles Edgeworth. Oh, by the way, I wasn't really expected to stream today. I thought I was going to be busy, but something got canceled, so it's like, fine with me. And I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrusted into a multitude of cases and some very frantic and busy days. The victim in this case, why was he killed in my office? I finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well, please continue your investigation. Yes, sir. Maybe it's because I did do a review on the Phoenix Wright anime, which is up on my YouTube channel, but I also play the games. And the way Miles does that finger wag, I notice every once in a while I end up doing that because now it's like incepting into my brain. I don't know. There's a gun right there on the floor. There's fingerprints right over there. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, are you okay, sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He's a detective with the local precinct, and the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However... Ah! Look what they did to your office! It's totally trash, I'll say. The culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. Devin, hey, how you doing? Hey. That's dance all day, Lenny. How you doing, Devin? No one gets away with tracking mud in my office. Whoa, sounds like you're getting really burnt up over this whole thing. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. Oh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that piqued my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? Is it really coincidence? Is it really coincidence that the murder took place in my office? I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really, especially because of this. The key to your office? What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Logic? By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. That is the end result of using logic. Yeah, because he should have the only key to his office, especially if he was gone abroad. So how do you use it? You're a freaking detective. What are you talking about? I enter many types of games. And just in case, because as many people ask those type of questions, some of which ask if they want to do designs for me. Thanks, but no thanks. Just in case that's, if you didn't catch my link above where it says please don't ask. So, just forewarning, because a lot of people have been asking that lately. First, I recall the information we gathered with L, and then I connect them together with X. Okay. Now use L and recall the facts. My office. Okay. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks, which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir. The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. I know that. And when I want to examine something, I simply use A when I'm next to it. Oh, if you ever feel lost and you want to talk, just use X, okay? I'll give you great precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose. What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of these before. Care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model, I think. Detective. I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. So it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by this precinct's detectives. I finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. Won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Great. I think I need a new controller thing for my Nintendo Switch. Just like I had to with my PS5 controller. Don't believe it. I packed those files on these shelves so tight that not even an earthquake could make them fall off. But just look at them. At this rate, the rest of the files won't be able to withstand an earthquake at all. Problem to be sure. Well, once the investigation is over, we'll put them back up on the shelf. You pee blood or something? Here, there's blood all over his lower abdominal area. Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot. Yep, and until the autopsy is done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Are you going to be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Alright, if you say so. I keep all the evidence I find either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have but to press R to open my organizer. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh hey, I have the exact same thing actually. What a coinky dink. Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith. It will appear that our victim was a detective just like you. I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to commonly use some logic and figure out if any of them are connected to each other. That probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life? Watch out for the teacup fragments there, sir. That killer is going to pay. This tea set. Yikes, you're really mad over this? This tea set is very dear to my heart and can only be bought in England. It costs more than your whole month's paycheck. What? I feel like the killer's wasted one of my monthly paychecks. Is this yet another batch of fresh flowers? Ones that come with a card tax every month like clockwork for you. Yup. Speaking of that, let's see what's on the card this month, sir. All will be resolved. Wendy. Oh, Miss Irony. How painful are thy thorns. Wendy, isn't that the name of that old lady with the whiny voice that stalked? That's enough, detective. You need not remind me further. Ugh. Oh, it's your trophy, that Knight of Prosecutors, right? King of Prosecutors. And it's not a trophy, it's a shield. They only send this to the winning prosecutor, right? Yes, but I have no real interest in the perceived worth of other people. As for my own worth, that's something only I can determine for myself. That's so slick, sir. I'm going to have to try saying that sometime. Unfortunately for him, his monetary worth is tied directly to his worth to me. Well, it's a good thing my steel samurai doll was spared any harm. Speaking of which, I still haven't actually sat down and watched any of that show. What's it about again? Well, I don't know much about it myself, but the hero of the Steel Samurai, warrior of Neo-Old Tokyo, is the Steel Samurai. And his goal is to defeat the evil magistrate. It's a show geared towards kids. However, its high production values and riveting plot draws in a number of adults as well. Spin-offs like Pink Princess, Warrior of Little Old Tokyo, and the Nickel Samurai, along with the deluge of merchandise and even a new stage show gives its presence. You sound like you actually is a fan because you know some deep cuts. You sure know a lot. Are you sure you're not some sort of rabbit fanboy? Of course not. Anyone that keeps up with society knows at least this much. And that conversation lasts longer than expected. Let's return to the investigation. It's been a while since I've sat at this desk. Oh, how I've missed you. It's so tidy that it looks newer than when I first bought it. Oh yeah, that thing's so polished that it makes mirrors jealous. Don't tell me you had no other work the entire time I was away, detective. My job is to protect your office, sir. And you did such a good job protecting it that a murder occurred in it. That's harsh, sir. I have to admit, the desk has never looked better, so I guess I can't dock his pay. I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return to relaxing on the sofa. That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Can I sit on it too, just for a little while, sir? Detective Gumshoe, you know I can't allow that. Until this case is solved, neither of us has time to spare, let alone rest. You're right, sir. I'm going to work hard and be a real trooper to the end. Even once this case is over, I don't think he can afford to take any time off. How's it coming along? Please, I need absolute silence. Fingerprint lifting is a delicate art. Oh, I'll never. Do you have anything to report? Sir, yes, sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. Yet, there's nothing out of the ordinary right in front of my eyes. Talk about a contradiction. Something out of the ordinary, huh? I should look around a little bit more. Else, they even knocked over your chess set. I had it all set up, ready for when you got back. I figured you could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve this case. Though I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. Okay. Why did this happen in my office? Okay, let me go back. Okay, bullet cleaned through the victim's abdomen. The body was found around 2:05 a.m. A detective in this precinct and the victim. Why was he killed in my office? Age 29. Why was this victim? A revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Ezra, sir, this guy's wearing a gun holster. So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Let's see what else can we find about this revolver. As I always say, you gotta look really carefully at each piece of evidence. You can use the R to rotate an object. There's no such thing as a bad angle. The thing that's, it's so easy to take a life with just a pull of a trigger. You know, I can't ever see myself really liking guns. Oh, but I love the ones they use at a track and field meets to start races. Meets to start races. If you take off before it fired, everybody always ends up following your lead. They chase you down for a false start, detective. Now that you mention it, even when I'm finished first, I always wind up in last place. Looks like only one round was fired from this. Wow, so the killer killed the victim with just one shot after wresting the gun from him. Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. I guess this is about all we're gonna find out. We should send the body to our... Jim! Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you alright? Don't touch me! Leave me alone! Just let me be! Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body! Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh! Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure. Just in a blood-stained suit, pal. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes I am. I'm Jacques Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office. Yes, that is correct. Then it was you. You're the one who killed Jim. Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not. I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them, and only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then. You're Jim's killer. No way, pal. You got it all wrong. Everyone calm down. Mr. Portman, correct? If you are a real prosecutor, you should know to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know? Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on then. It's your room after all. Thank you, I intend to. I just want a little bit more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there. Sir. You son of a bitch. I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner Jim. I should probably give them some space. Ah, your jacket, sir. What is it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in. Prosecutorial. What if they had shot through it? It would have been a disaster. It's not worth getting worked up over, detective. Not when there's something more here. Huh? Like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, detective. There is a giant contradiction right here in front of us. Really? Did I say contradiction? You must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. But I have my own methods and I will conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. This is it. This bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point my cursor at it and press X with conviction. When I found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things. Eureka! Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right. However, this gun only fired once. Hey, that's true too. Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Ah, that. It's a secret safe. A secret safe? Ooh, I smell money. I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like that what you're imagining is inside. Now if you could kindly move this frame out of the way. Roger that. Achoo, achoo. Talk about dusty. I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a safe here, or I have kept it clean for you, sir. So when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Really? I had no idea. But only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So what's inside, Mr. Esworth? Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it. Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. Won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad. Don't you find it a bit too clean? Yeah. There's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, the forensic scientist. Yes, sir. Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? You got it, sir. I couldn't find, let alone lift a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. As I thought, it appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. Okay. I believe I figured out what the murder was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about this crime. There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm gonna shelve files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth. And so what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? First, we commonly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal. Okay? Done. Oh, there's another hole down that way. It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. The blood stains on the bookshelf are still. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell on the floor right. Blood on the floor is kind of gross me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. No, but you know I'm no good with blood, sir. Why you become a detective then? I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine, it indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. And I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the sea of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. the victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There are prints on the floor too. Those must have been when he was unable to stay standing. He dropped to the floor. I put them all back just as they should be, sir. Doesn't look like anything's missing. Although it does look like the killer moved the body to flip through my shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on the guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See, I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth. Making sure I got everything. So this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold. Is this the spot somehow connected? This is clearly where the contradiction lies. I don't really see what's wrong with that spot. Huh, you don't understand? You see, therein lies the contradiction. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, it'd be nice if you just admit when you're wrong. Oh. This is where I gotta look up to see. Gotta cheat a bit. There's clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. Or if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir, that would be illogical. The victim leaned against this shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. And that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that the cause of wrong? Oh, yeah, you see, here's how the files that were shot began with the number 0. What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out in order. Those white binders are special, so they are arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha, so that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. Do you think it'll be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? They finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith. And then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown in disarray twice, and once before and once after the crime. But why? Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give another look. This... What is that? Why does it say Gumshoe on the floor, in there in blood? I say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of criminal activity indeed. No, wait! There's gotta be some mistake! Mr. Ezra, sir, help me! Say something, sir! It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. You know, he did say he doesn't like using guns and he keeps his safely tucked away for emergencies, so not a strong defense, but something to consider. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words is more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it. I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Ellsworth, what are we going to do? What I always do in court, I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose a flaw in his logic with this technique. Oh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir? Might as well. Alright, first I listen to the witness's testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open my organizer with R and present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I simply press X, but that's old news. But it's not like there's going to be a flaw in their testimony every time, right? Correct. And at those times, I need to press the witness with L. Sometimes by pressing, I can draw out new information and new or modified testimony. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations too. Very well. I'll even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. Can't read today for some reason. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer. I can hear Jim's voice and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portman? There's no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence. Hold it! You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask. What is that? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name was Buddy Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jacquees and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jacquees and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys I decided to nickname Jim. Little pretentious. He talks about the victim like he was his pet. Hold it! Do you really think it was necessary to dishevel my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, then maybe his real intent was theft. Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Ellsworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that his life is getting a little too rough to handle. That life is getting a little too rough to handle. How do you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal? Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be in instant noodles, but poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. And what a motive, no?
Hold it!
Why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. Had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway.
Hold it!
Why do you think that the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he missed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Well, why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edwards. Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked the bloody letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup. With a game-finishing spike.
Hold it!
Are you saying that those letters were intended for you? Yep, Jim was an outstanding detective. I would expect no less from my former partner. Looks like Mr. Portman still doesn't understand. He has yet to figure out the true meaning behind the bloody letters. What are you sputtering over there? Can't you just admit my logic is perfectly sound? Actually, there's a gigantic flaw in his logic. A gap so wide that even the good detective can spot it. Now to clue Mr. Portman in by presenting him with some evidence. Perhaps you're not aware of Mr. Portman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic. Ha! Bringing in a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that your fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking, I get it. If you have time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible! What's impossible, Mr. Portman? Nothing? The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean, the S is gone, and there's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Which means, what exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low. I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman. Brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. Man, you win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Like everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up. However, what is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Ezra just proved that I'm innocent, pal. What's with the Michael Jackson? You know, That's absolutely right. And I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? Oh, I was thinking. Did you know there is one other person with the key to this office? One other person. Hey, you there? Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't! What's wrong with him after all of a sudden? I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. Detective Gumshoe, sir? Maggie? Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see, and your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you are not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person who has access to this room is Miss Bird. How dare you? I would never sneak into someone's room. That's right, I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right, I did it. Can we take that as a confession, Detective? Oh, well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. So you're saying she used the master key? Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him.
Hold it!
Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir. Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean, unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Should I hear Miss Bird out? Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. I'll be the judge of that, Miss Bird, if you please. I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir. What do you mean by missing? As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words. I'm not lying, sir.
Objection!
If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now. I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir. A likely story. Where is your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again. I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it. Yeah, pal, trust me. You don't want to test just how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But you still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried to save. As Mr. Portman says, Detective. Can't ignore the fact that all of the evidence points towards a motive of theft. But clearly, like, one of the books that was missing, has something to do with some kind of case or something, because there's no money in the safe, nothing to take out. Then, or at least find out what was missing. Does she have any kind of link to a particular case involving that file? If not, it seems kind of, weird to take something that you have no connection with at all. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own.
Hold it!
I concur that the culprit's motives appear to have been thievery. However, glad to hear that Great Miles Edgeworth is in agreement with little old me. However, with regard to the investigation of the bookshelves and safe. Hey, good thinking, asking for my opinion on the matter. Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence?
Hold it!
I thought we had established Detective Gumshoe's innocence pretty thoroughly. It was just a theory, one hypothesis among the many possibilities. I mean, I had my doubts about Miss Bird from the very beginning. If that's the case, then why didn't you mention her first? Now, don't make that face. See? There goes the truth, running the other way. Let's pick up the pace and see if we can't catch up to it. I don't think you're catching my drift. But we are in agreement that the detective isn't the killer, right? If so, then I hope you understand when I say that since she is the only one who could have opened your office door.
Hold it!
Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions? Are you saying there's another way to open the door other than with the master key? Oh, I get it. Perhaps you had a spare made for someone else. I have you know I have never made a spare, so what are you insinuating? Nothing? Guess I should have known better than to suggest that someone like you would.
Hold it!
Is there anyone in this district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors. Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir. We're holding our collective breath, you know? But when you screw up so badly that you're literally chased off the force. Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course not. That's hogwash. Phew, don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there.
Hold it!
By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe? I figure that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And just the act of choosing his name is proof enough that the two knew each other well. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence. I would love to. But first, we should listen a bit more and digest what he's saying. And press him for more information. Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole theory conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, the existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah, even I didn't know about that safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. And then you are proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses! Why? What made you... What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault. What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret saves. What did you say? What did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret saves. Then that means... Yeah, I know. I had only just told him too. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief? And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bird. Excuse me? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far, even in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us unless you retrieved it from him from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsmouth, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Has he no honor? Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. But I'm the one who's been assigned to the case. You are all suspects to varying degrees, and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Mackie can't be the culprit. Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But sir, we have no choice but to accommodate his requests for now. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'll be most grateful. Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again. If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now, don't disappoint me, you hear? To be continued. Okay, that is the day one case. I'll be hopping on to playing the or at least going through some Marvel vs. Capcom collection, another collection that just came out. So I'm gonna play a little bit of that. So I will see you all soon. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you enjoying the Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney game? I'll see you all later. Peace.